Now, I know that in the past, certain Congress people and politicians have advocated for voter ID, saying that it helps with fraud. And the argument against it is that it's suppressing minority votes. Do you think that this current situation supports voter ID laws, maybe to prevent stuff like this from happening, or do you think it doesn't matter?
Well, let's be clear. I can't say for sure, but my sense, having been watching the situation for decades now, is that Republicans have been playing a game with the hazard of electoral fraud. They have been pretending that it was likely that individuals were going to find a way to vote more than once or something like this. This is nonsense. I'm not saying it never happens. Obviously, it's going to happen in any election above a certain size. But does it ever happen enough to matter? The chances are very low that that kind of fraud would, because the penalty for engaging in it is high, and the ability of one individual, even if they worked at it full time, to file enough fraudulent votes to change an election is just vanishingly small. So there won't be a lot of individual fraud. And to the extent that there is individual fraud, it's unlikely to matter. And I think that's the place where voter ID is most likely to be effective. What we need is a system that is modern, that is uniform in some sense. Part of what we face, the problem, is that all of the states are free to do their own thing, and they all do something somewhat different from each other. And this makes for chaos. But we also need a system that is at least partially electronic and verifiable. Now, this is a high bar to meet. There are lots of obstacles, and many people correctly fear that if you built an electronic system, it would be ripe for a massive fraud. So it has to be built very carefully. And frankly, it probably can't be entirely electronic. It needs to have a paper component in order to guard against that. But a system in which votes were registered through something like an app, where the code that the app is built from is open source, where the votes are auditable, is going to be essential going forward, so that we don't face this every single electoral cycle. And for what it's worth, we spotted this hazard months ago, and we in the Unity movement tried to generate a prize that would have incentivized the rapid production of such an app. And our thought was, ordinarily, there's no way to get such a thing adopted by 50 separate states. But after the electoral catastrophe that was very clearly headed our direction, we thought the openness to adopting it might be there. And if the app was ready, we hoped that it would be adopted at that point. Unfortunately, we were unable to generate the prize, so the app doesn't exist. And that means that in our current situation, it isn't there to reach for as a solution for next time.